Hi everyone! So today I just wanted to talk about how to be a therapist. So this is kind of me talking about how to be a therapist because I've recently gone to therapy, I've gone to therapy groups, and I feel like I've learned a lot of coping skills. This is by no means a recommendation from a mental health professional. I'm not a mental health professional. This is more just me parodying the I don't know. This is just me kind of expressing some personal no. This is just me talking about how I would be a therapist if I were a therapist, okay? If I were a therapist, this is what I would do to become a therapist. So, um, so when I was in middle school, I was in this this class called PSST. I think it was like peer service and support team or something like that. And it was basically just a class. You would have to do an interview to get into this class. It was like in middle school. And basically we learned in the class how to listen, how to paraphrase, how to be a good peer basically to your peers. And one of the things we learned in that class was mediation groups. And mediation was basically if two people got into a fight, then we would mediate them. So we would sit in between them and let both of them talk to each other. So person A says what their side of the conflict, and then person B says their side of the conflict, and then basically our job would be to paraphrase what they were talking about. So like if person A says, I feel like this person is bullying me and is saying mean things about me behind my back. And then person B says, I feel like this person is um I feel like this person is stupid and I feel like they're not worth living. And then you would say, okay, so you feel hurt because this person is not treating you well, and you feel like you want to. I don't know what I would say to person B in this situation, but basically, you would say, you feel this way, this is how you feel, you validate their feelings, and then to person B, you say, you feel this way, and basically, you validate their feelings. So that's paraphrasing. That's step one to being a therapist. You want to paraphrase because paraphrasing basically shows that like, you hear, basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to show that you hear what the other person is saying, you understand them, you validate them, and then you ask a question or you say something in response to get them to say more. So here's an example. I'm really, I've been really depressed lately. So if I'm the patient, I would say, I'm really depressed lately. I haven't been sleeping well. I feel like I've been really stressed because of my classes and because my friends aren't really like talking to me as much. I'm not getting invited to any parties, and I've also got into a car accident. So, in order to paraphrase, you would say, it sounds like you could say something like, it sounds like you're going through some low points and some low times. It sounds like the people that you usually reach out to for support aren't being reliable, and it sounds like you've been feeling kind of down and low in your mood, which is understandable. given the fact that your friends aren't supporting you. And then you could ask a follow-up question that shows that you're listening, such as, what other ways do you think you can find support other than the friends that you usually rely on? Something like that. It doesn't really matter what the question is, it just has to show that you've been listening and you have some thoughts that you have thoughts that are going on in your own mind that you are responding basically. Think of something to say that's like constructive and that can add to the conversation. Okay. Step 2. I think step 2 is practice, practice, practice. With any skill, playing the piano, vlogging, like I've been doing, making music, writing, chemistry, accounting. With any skill, you have to practice. Practice, practice, practice. But you might think, how can I practice being a therapist? Okay, you might think, how can I practice being a therapist? That's not something that's easily practiced. You might feel like, well, the only way for me to practice is for me to go and get my clinical hours as a professional and shadow a professional therapist. No, you can actually practice being a therapist from your own home. You can practice being a therapist. Anyone can do this, and I'm going to tell you how. Watch YouTube videos. Literally just that. Watch YouTube videos. You can watch YouTube videos. I swear, okay? I swear, watching YouTube videos feels like being a therapist because basically, especially in this day and age, like basically 10 years ago, 2015 to 2025, like a lot of videos that I see now, a lot of videos that YouTube recommends to me, a lot of videos that are like in my feed are basically just like talking videos. And it might be on any subject. It could be on any subject like accounting, it could be on like stock market, how to grow your YouTube channel. I've been watching a lot of videos on how to grow your YouTube channel. It could be on self-care, tarot readings. A lot of videos are just videos kind of like this, sit down, where it's just somebody like talking to the camera. And you can imagine that that's your patient, basically. You can imagine that this person is your patient and you're listening to them talk and they're talking to you for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, which is basically like what a therapist does is you listen to somebody talk. Obviously, you can't respond to them face to face and it's not the same as talking face to face, but I feel like it's practicing like those listening skills, those patient skills, analyzation skills, you know? You can think in your head, like, it doesn't even have to be like a sit down video, it could be like a vlog video of someone going through their day. You could think, why is this person like this? Why are they making these choices? Why are they behaving in this way? Do they have any tics that I noticed? Do they have any speaking styles that I noticed? Do they have any particular thought patterns that I can notice through their speaking or their daily life? These are all things that you can notice when watching a YouTube video, and that's something that I've personally noticed through watching a lot of YouTube videos is that like you can really get a lot of insight into a single person based on a YouTube video that they've posted onto YouTube. That's what I feel. I feel like I feel like you can learn a lot about a person from watching their YouTube videos. Step 3, things to remember. Okay, there's something in psychology called the mere exposure effect, which is basically the more you are exposed to a person, the more you gradually start to like them. So like, for example, like if I start watching a YouTube video of this one channel and they just popped up on my YouTube algorithm, I might not like really like them at first, but the more videos I click on of them, like the more videos I keep watching of them, they slowly start to feel like a friend. It's slowly like that parasocial tea, you know? It slowly starts to feel like you're listening to a friend, or like you're developing a relationship with this YouTuber or this person or this patient. So like as a therapist, I feel like it's the same thing as like watching a YouTube video. It's like the more that you get to know this person, the more that you listen, the more that you pay attention to a person, the more you kind of empathize with them, and the more you naturally start to feel empathy for them and start to like them. I think the mirror exposure effect is basically essentially like the more you spend time with someone, the more you start to like them, the more you start to understand them. So that's the mirror exposure effect. And I think this applies to YouTube, and I think it applies to therapy as well. And it could be patient to therapist and therapist to patient. The more you hang out with a specific person, the more you start to like them. I mean, this is not necessarily true. I feel like this is to a certain limit. Like for me personally, I feel like with certain people, like with certain like strangers, like I feel like the more I like get to know them, like on YouTube, maybe because of like the distance t, like the more I watch them, the more I start to empathize with them. But with other certain people, like the more I get exposed to them, the more I get annoyed with them. So I don't know. This is like with a lot of psychological principles. It's like it's not like a apply all, end all, be all. But yeah, and another tip I have for YouTube, and also this is could also be applied to general life and therapy, I guess, is don't subscribe to everyone. You don't have to subscribe to everyone. Ratchet. Ratchet. You don't have to subscribe to everyone. This applies to YouTube, and it also applies to real life. You don't have to like follow what everybody is necessarily saying. Like for example, if you're watching YouTuber A and you click on their YouTube video and their YouTube video seems very interesting, but you don't feel like it brings you that much joy, or you don't think it brings you that much insight, or you don't think it helps you grow as a therapist or as a person, then you don't have to subscribe to them. And the same goes for like if you're on Instagram, like if you see this page and it doesn't really resonate with you that much, if it doesn't really inspire you, if you don't really feel that connected to this person, you don't have to follow them. And the same goes for real life tea. Like if you don't necessarily connect with this person, if you don't necessarily empathize with them, you don't have to like follow them, or like, you know, feel like you are obligated to connect with this person. So like in the example of therapy, like if you're in a relationship with a patient, if you're in a therapist patient relationship and you don't necessarily feel like you're clicking, and you don't necessarily feel like you're connecting, you don't have to connect. You don't have to continue the relationship. You don't have to, so basically is you don't have to subscribe to everyone. You don't have to follow everyone. You don't have to continue a therapist-patient relationship with everyone. You're not going to click with everyone, is what I'm saying. Is basically what I'm saying. So yeah. Step I think 4 we're on is how to psychoanalyze. How to Finchi. So there's some basic tips on how to psychoanalyze. I don't think you have to get a degree in psychology. I mean, like, if you really want to like become a professional therapist, like a clinical licensed therapist, you obviously have to get a degree in psychology. But I feel like there's some basic like psychoanalysis like principles that you can learn or like think about, because really psychology is like psychology is basically the study of thought, the study of the mind. So you have to use your own mind in order to learn more psychology. And I feel like psychology is also something that you can learn through thinking. One of the rare things you can learn just through thinking alone. But obviously, you also have to practice, which I mean, watching YouTube videos is a very good way to practice. So, one of the basic things of psychoanalysis is, in Chinese, analyzation is called finshi, which is basically you split things apart and you look at things by splitting them. So, I feel like one of the main, this is kind of like Trump tea, but like one of the easiest ways to split people is by men and women. Obviously, there's also non binary people, and obviously, this includes trans folk for me, but I feel like men and women have like some very basic like differences. For example, like I find that like men, especially like when they're talking, they tend to like want to like over explain. They tend to like feel like they need to over explain things sometimes, or like maybe they want to intellectualize things. This could be men or like masculine women, in my opinion. This is just my own opinion, okay? But I feel like men or masculine people tend to be a little more maybe like defensive or like more reserved, or like tend to want to intellectualize things, kind of like I'm doing right now. And more feminine people maybe are a little more like associative, or have more broad, like have broader, like broader, paint like a broader picture, maybe they have more lists of things they want to talk about, kind of like the list that I have right now. I feel like I'm giving non-binary. Maybe they are more like definitely more intuitive tea. Definitely more like understanding. Like I feel like if a woman or a feminine person has a conflict with someone, they're like, yes, I'm mad, but also I understand where you're coming from. Like I understand where the other person is coming from, but I'm also mad. Whereas a man or a more masculine person would be like, I'm mad and this is my perspective, and that's the end all be all. But of course, like splitting things into masculine and feminine, or even men and women, is a very basic thing. But I feel like with psychoanalysis, you have to start with like very basic things. Like, is this person a child? Is this person a teenager? Or is this person an adult? Is this person presenting as a man, or is this presenting as a woman? Are they giving more masculine vibes, or are they giving more feminine vibes? Is this person employed, or is this person unemployed? Is this person does this person seem happy, or does this person seem kind of unhappy? Is this person on a same wavelength as you, or is this person not on the same wavelength as you? Things like that. And I also feel like for psychoanalysis, you have to have a basic like feeling of being curious about people. I feel like in order to be a therapist, in order to even be a good friend, I feel like this applies to being a good friend, like being a listener, like I feel like you have to have a basic like curiosity for people and a basic desire to empathize with people. I don't think that empathy is a natural trait, masculine, like whether you're a masculine or a feminine person, man or woman, I don't think empathy is necessarily natural. I don't think it's necessarily, I think it's an instinct, but in today's modern age, I think that empathy has been eroded. I think empathy has been eroded. So you have to like relearn like how to be like curious about people, which is why like I feel like watching a lot of YouTube videos is a good practice for that because you're learning how to empathize with strangers. But I think a key point of psychoanalysis is that you have to have like a basic like curiosity about people. Like you have to be willing to think like, why is this person like this? How can I help this person? How through listening can I help this person? How can I make this person feel better? You know, what questions can I ask to make this person feel understood? What questions can I ask to help this person? What things, how can I paraphrase what this person has said in order to make them feel understood, in order to make them feel heard, in order to make them feel connected, in order to make them feel, you know, like some value has been, like there's some value to them talking for X amount of minutes, for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes to you. Like, how can I make them feel like they're heard, you know? So I think in order to make someone feel heard, you need to have a basic curiosity about people. You need to have a basic feeling of, why are people the way that they are? Like, what is human nature? You don't have to be too philosophical with it, but I think reading philosophy is also a way to engage with people and learn how to become a better therapist, you know? Reading Freud, even, reading basic feminist texts, reading basic post-colonial texts, like Spivak, what's her name again? Irigaray, Lucy Irigaray, Marx. Reading these basic texts could also help you to think about human nature. Deleuze, Lacan. Reading some stuff to like help you think about human nature, think about how to think about human nature, think about like the relationships between people in an abstract fashion. I really do think that that can help you to become a better listener, to become even a better person, to even become like a better therapist, to become a better listener, and to become a better friend, all that. And you don't have to be a licensed, in my opinion, like, it's just like I went to the Broad. Okay, this is my closing stories. These are my closing remarks. I went to the Broad like last week. I went to the Broad and I saw this exhibit of this artist called Joseph Beuys. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It was Bueys. And he was kind of like a communist T, I think. And his whole thing was that like everything could be art, which of course made his art not that T. But his ideas were kind of T. I think his ideas were T. His art wasn't that T because like if you think everything can be art, then you could put like a toilet up there and it's art, which is Dada, but like still. There's kind of a balance to be found between ideas and art, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But I feel like his whole idea was that everyone is an artist, from a housekeeper to like a politician, and everything is art. So in my opinion, like just being a good person, like wanting to be a good person, wanting to be a good friend, wanting to be a good person in society, in public, like in all your daily interactions, like being a good listener and being a therapist are one and the same, in my opinion. Like when you're talking to someone, you want to make them feel like they're understood. You want to make them feel like, and it's not for any like you want to get something out of them, or like you're trying to like handle a business transaction or something like that. Like that's not the point. Like I just feel like in today's age, like it's just generally necessary for people to be more empathetic with each other and to try to like have patience and to try to be more understanding. So that's my tea. Like that's all I'm saying. Like that's all I'm trying to say. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, or if you found it interesting or insightful, or if it made you laugh, which I don't know why it would, because I feel like I've just been ranting basically. If you feel like this YouTube video has been helpful to you in any way, give it a like, click the like button, subscribe, or comment. I really love the comments. I respond to all comments. And I appreciate you very much, especially if you watched to the end of the video to hear. So, okay, that's all I have to say for today. I love you all. Bye.